The space around New Busan burned with alien fire. Captain Dongsu watched through the bridge windows of his ship as bright beams of energy struck the planet below. Each blast turned another city into ash and dust. The alien ships moved slowly, across the planet's surface like giant metal beasts hunting for prey. Dongsu's hands gripped the metal rail in front of him. His ship, the Inchen's Fury, floated hidden among the asteroids at the edge of the star system. The ship's special hiding technology kept them invisible to the alien sensors, but hiding meant watching people die. "Captain, we're getting the final message from New Busan," said Wu Jin from his station. The young man's voice shook as he spoke. "The planet's shields are failing." On the main screen, a woman's face appeared. She looked tired and scared. Behind her, Dongsu could see people running and screaming. "This is Governor Park on New Busan. Our shields are down. The evacuation centers are full of 50,000 people. We can't get them out in time." The screen filled with static as another energy beam hit the planet. Commander Boram stepped up next to Dongsu. She had been his second in command for 3 years. Her face was hard like stone, but her eyes showed anger. "Captain, we have to do something. Those are our people down there." "I know," Dongsu said quietly. He looked at his small crew. There were only 30 people on his ship. The alien fleet had 12 massive warships, each one 10 times bigger than the Inchen's Fury. It should have been impossible to think about fighting them. Lieutenant Tae-ho turned from his weapons station. "Sir, I'm reading their ship types. Those are Vorthak Empire dreadnoughts. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a moon." He paused. "But their shields are down. They think they're safe." Chief Engineer Mi Young looked up from her control panel. "The ghost drive is working perfectly, Captain. They can't see us at all. We could get close before they know we're there." Dongsu thought about the enemy ships. The Vorthak Empire had been attacking human colonies for months. They called humans soft flesh and thought people were weak and stupid. Every time human ships tried to fight back, the aliens destroyed them easily. The Vorthak believed humans were just another weak species that would soon be extinct. The captain walked to the big window and stared out at the alien fleet. The lead ship was huge and covered with weapons. Strange symbols were painted on its dark metal hull. That was the flagship where their commander would be sitting, probably laughing about how easy it was to kill humans. "They think we're nothing," Dongsu said to his crew. "They think humans are too weak to fight back. They're down there killing children and families, and they think no one can stop them." Boram nodded. "The Vorthak have never fought a real human warship before. They've only seen our cargo ships and colony transports. They don't know what we can do." Another message came from the planet. This time it was just audio because the video systems were destroyed. A man's voice spoke through the static. "Please, if anyone can hear this, help us. The children are crying. We can't hold much longer." Tae-ho's hands moved over his weapon controls. "Captain, our plasma lance array is fully charged. It's an experimental weapon, but the tests showed it can cut through any known shield technology." Mi Young spoke up from her station. "The ghost drive lets us move in ways their ships can't. We can appear behind them, hit them, and disappear before they can react." Wu Jin added, "I can disrupt their communications when we attack. It will take them time to coordinate a response." Dongsu closed his eyes and thought about his choices. Military doctrine said never fight when you were outnumbered. It said to retreat and call for help, but help would take weeks to arrive, and the people on New Busan would be dead in hours. He opened his eyes and looked at his crew. These were good people who had trained hard and served with honor. They all knew the odds. They all knew this might be their last day alive. But they were ready to fight. "The Vorthak Empire thinks humans are weak," Dongsu said loudly so everyone could hear. "They think we'll run away when things get hard. They think we don't care about each other." He turned to face his crew. "Today we show them they're wrong." Boram smiled for the first time in hours. "What are your orders, Captain?" Dongsu walked to his command chair and sat down. "Mi Young, take us in behind their flagship. Use full stealth. Tae-ho, target their main reactor with the plasma lance. Wu Jin, prepare to jam their communications. Boram, plot an escape course through the asteroid field." "Yes, sir." they all said together. The Incheon's fury moved quietly through space like a hunting shark. The ghost drive made the ship phase in and out of normal space, so the alien sensors couldn't detect them. They flew closer and closer to the huge Vorthak flagship. On the main screen, Dongsu could see the alien ship's details. It was covered with weapon ports and armor plating. Strange lights blinked along its hull. The ship was so big that the Incheon's fury looked like a small fish next to a whale. "We're in position," Mi-young reported. "Ghost drive is stable. They still can't see us." Taeho's hands were ready on his weapon controls. Plasma lances locked onto their main reactor. One shot should overload their entire power system. Woojin nodded from his station. "Communication jammers are ready. When we fire, they won't be able to warn the other ships for at least 60 seconds. Boram looked at her navigation screens. "Escape course is programmed. We can be back in the asteroids in 30 seconds after we attack." Dongsu took a deep breath. In a few moments, everything would change. Either his small ship would strike a blow for humanity, or they would all die trying. But the people on New Busan deserved a chance to live. "All stations ready," he said. "On my mark." He paused and looked at the alien flagship one more time. "For New Busan. For humanity. Fire." The Incheon's fury appeared behind the Vorthak flagship, like a ghost becoming real. The plasma lance fired with the power of a small star. The plasma lance hit the Vorthak flagship like lightning striking a tree. The beam of concentrated energy punched through the alien ship's rear shields and drove deep into its metal hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire back section of the massive warship began to glow white-hot. "Direct hit on their main reactor," Taeho reported, watching his weapon readings. "The containment system is failing." Inside the alien flagship, War Commander Thexal felt his ship shake. Red lights flashed on his command bridge as his officers shouted in their harsh alien language. The Vorthak commander was 8 feet tall with scales like armor and eyes like yellow fire. He had destroyed 100 worlds and killed millions of enemies. But he had never felt his own ship take damage like this. "What struck us?" Thexal roared at his crew. "Where did that attack come from?" His weapons officer looked at the sensor, readings with confusion. "Commander, I detect a small ship behind us, but that's impossible. Our sensors should have seen it coming from far away." Thexal turned to stare at the main viewing screen. There, floating in space behind his mighty dreadnought, was a ship smaller than his smallest fighter. It looked like a metal arrow with engines glowing blue. Strange symbols were painted on its hull, human symbols. A soft flesh ship? Thexal could not believe what he was seeing. One tiny human vessel dares to attack the mighty Vorthak Empire? On the bridge of the Incheon's fury, Dongsu watched as cracks of light began spreading along the alien flagship's hull. The plasma lance had done more damage than they had hoped. The ship's reactor was going critical. "All ships, this is War Commander Thexal," came a transmission from the flagship. The alien's voice was filled with rage and confusion. "A human ship has attacked us. Destroy it immediately." But before the other Vorthak ships could respond, the flagship's reactor exploded. The massive warship broke apart in a ball of white, fire that lit up the entire star system. Pieces of burning metal flew in all directions. The explosion was so bright that the crew of the Incheon's fury had to shield their eyes. "My God," whispered Boram. "We actually did it. We killed their flagship." Woojin looked up from his communication station with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions from the other Vorthak ships. They're afraid. They've never seen one of their dreadnoughts destroyed so quickly." The remaining 11 alien warships stopped their attack on New Busan and turned toward the small human destroyer. Their massive weapon systems began to charge up, creating a low humming sound that could be heard through space itself. "Here they come," said Mi-young, watching her sensors. "All 11 ships are moving toward us. They're really angry now." Dongsu stood up from his command chair. His crew looked at him with trust and determination. They had struck the first blow, but now came the hard part, staying alive long enough to strike again. "Taeho, how long until the plasma lance can fire again?" he asked. 3 minutes to full charge, Captain." but we only have enough power for 2 more shots before we need to recharge the main batteries. Boram, take us into the asteroid field. Use the rocks for cover. Mi Young, keep the ghost drive running, make us as hard to hit as possible. Yes, sir, Boram said, her hands flying over the navigation controls. Taking us in now. The Incheon's fury darted away from the expanding debris cloud of the destroyed flagship. Behind them, 11 Vorthak dreadnoughts gave chase, their weapons lighting up space with deadly energy beams. The human ship twisted and turned between the floating rocks, using the asteroids like shields. A massive energy blast struck the asteroid right next to them, turning the rock into glowing fragments. Another beam passed so close to their hull that it scorched their outer plating. The Vorthak ships were firing everything they had, but they couldn't get a clear shot at the fast-moving human vessel. They're not used to fighting something this small and quick, observed Taeho. Their weapons are designed to fight big, slow ships. Wu Jin activated his electronic warfare systems. I'm sending interference signals to their targeting computers. It should make it harder for them to lock onto us. The alien ships spread out, trying to surround the human destroyer. But every time they thought they had the Incheon's fury trapped, the ship would phase shift with its ghost drive and appear somewhere else. It was like trying to catch smoke with their hands. Sub-Commander Vrexik, now in charge of the Vorthak fleet after his commander's death, grew more frustrated by the minute. How is one small ship making fools of us all? He snarled. It's just soft flesh. They have no real warriors. But as he watched the human ship dance between his weapons fire, avoiding death by inches again and again, Vrexik began to understand something that chilled his alien blood. These humans weren't running away. They weren't begging for mercy. They were fighting like cornered predators, and they were winning. On New Busan, the people in the evacuation shelters watched the battle through whatever communication systems still worked. They saw their small human ship facing impossible odds against an entire alien fleet. Children stopped crying to watch. Adults held their breath with each near miss. Look at them fight, whispered an old man. Just one ship, but they won't give up. A young woman held her baby close. They came back for us. They could have run away, but they came back. In space, the battle continued. The Incheon's fury darted between asteroids while energy beams filled the space around them. Dongsu felt sweat on his forehead as he gave orders to his crew. This was the most dangerous flying any of them had ever done. Plasma lance is recharged, Taeho announced. I have a target lock on the nearest dreadnought. Take the shot, Dongsu ordered. The second plasma lance blast struck a Vorthak warship in its engine section. The ship spun out of control as its rear engines exploded one by one. It crashed into a large asteroid and broke apart in a shower of sparks and flame. The remaining 10 alien ships pulled back slightly. Their crews had never seen 2 of their mighty dreadnoughts destroyed so quickly. These humans were fighting with a skill and technology they had never encountered before. Captain, Boram said quietly, they're regrouping. I think they're starting to take us seriously now. Dongsu nodded grimly. Good. Maybe now they'll understand what happens when you threaten human families. The battlefield had changed. What started as a simple massacre had become a real fight, and the aliens were beginning to learn that humans were far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The 10 remaining Vorthak ships moved into a defensive formation, their massive hulls creating a wall of metal and weapons in space. Sub-Commander Vrexik had learned from watching his flagship die. He would not underestimate the human ship again. Spread the formation, Vrexik ordered his fleet. Give that small ship no place to hide. When it appears, all ships fire at once. We will turn it into dust. On the bridge of the Incheon's fury, Captain Dongsu studied the enemy formation on his tactical screen. The aliens had positioned themselves well. There were no gaps to exploit, no weak spots to target. If his ship tried to attack any one vessel, the others would destroy it instantly. They're learning, Boram said, frowning at the display. This won't be as easy as the first 2 kills. Dongsu walked to his command chair and pressed a button on the armrest. All stations, this is the captain. We're going to implement Protocol Typhoon. Prepare for electronic warfare operations. The crew exchanged glances. Protocol Typhoon was something they had only practiced in simulations. It was a complex battle plan designed for exactly this situation. One small ship against a much larger fleet, but it had never been tested in real combat. Woojin, I need you to hack into their communication network, Dongsu ordered. Plant confusion viruses in their ship-to-ship channels. Make them think their allies are enemies. Woojin's fingers flew over his control panel. Working on it, Captain. Their encryption is tough, but I'm finding weak spots. He paused, concentrating. Got it. Uploading viruses now. Mi-young, I need the ghost drive pushed beyond safe limits. Can you make us appear to be in multiple locations at the same time? The chief engineer looked worried. Captain, if I overload the ghost drive like that, we might phase shift permanently. We could get stuck between dimensions. Can you do it? Dongsu asked simply. Mi-young nodded slowly. Yes, sir, but only for a few minutes before the system burns. Out. Taeho, load all remaining plasma charges into the lance array. I want maximum power for every shot. Understood, Captain. We'll have 4 shots total, then the weapons will be empty. Dongsu looked at his crew one more time. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. 50,000 people are counting on us. Are you ready? Ready, Captain, they all responded. Execute Protocol Typhoon. Now. The Incheon's fury suddenly appeared in 3 different places at once. The overcharged ghost drive created multiple images of the ship, each one looking completely real to alien sensors. The Vorthak formation immediately began firing at all 3 targets, but their weapons passed harmlessly through 2 of the images. What sorcery is this? Brexik shouted on his bridge. Which one is real? At the same moment, Woojin's viruses reached the Vorthak communication systems. False messages began appearing on their screens. Ship commanders received orders that seemed to come from Brexik himself, but the orders were designed to create chaos. All ships, target the vessel to your left, appeared on one screen. Fire on the ship behind you. It has been taken by the humans, appeared on another. 3 Vorthak warships, confused by the fake messages, opened fire on each other. Energy beams struck friendly hulls as the aliens shot their own allies. One ship's shields collapsed under the friendly fire, and it began to drift helplessly. Stop firing! Brexik screamed into his communicator. Those are our own ships. But the confusion spread faster than he could control it. More false messages appeared. Some ships thought they were under attack by human boarding parties. Others believed their allies had turned traitor. The organized formation broke apart as ships moved to avoid what they thought were enemy vessels. In the middle of the chaos, the real Incheon's fury struck like a lightning bolt. It appeared directly behind one of the confused Vorthak ships and fired a plasma lance into its weapon storage area. The explosion tore the alien warship in half, sending debris flying into 2 nearby vessels. Before the aliens could react, the human ship vanished again, only to reappear on the other side of the battle. Another plasma lance struck a different target, this time hitting the ship's bridge. The Vorthak vessel spun out of control as its command crew died instantly. There are too many of them, shouted a Vorthak captain. The humans have brought an entire fleet, but Brexik was starting to understand the truth. No, he said quietly, staring at his tactical display. It's still just one ship, but they're using technology we don't understand. They can be everywhere, at once. The ghost drive was pushing beyond its limits. Mi-young watched her control panel with growing concern as warning lights flashed red. Captain, the drive is overheating. We have maybe 1 minute before total system failure. 2 more shots, Dongsu said grimly. Make them count, Taeho. The Incheon's fury appeared above the Vorthak formation, diving down like a hawk attacking prey. The plasma lance fired twice in quick succession. The first shot destroyed another warship's engines, sending it crashing into an asteroid. The second shot hit the ammunition storage of yet another vessel, creating an explosion so bright it could be seen from New Busan's surface. That left 6 Vorthak ships still fighting, but their formation was completely broken. Some were damaged from friendly fire, others were trying to avoid the debris from their destroyed allies. All of them were confused and frightened. Weapons are empty, Taeho reported. No more plasma charges. Ghost drive is failing, Myung added. I'm shutting it down before it tears the ship apart. The multiple images of the Inchen's fury disappeared, leaving only the real ship visible to the aliens. For a moment, both sides paused. The humans had no more special weapons to fire. The aliens had lost half their fleet to a single small ship. Sub-Commander. Vrexik stared at the human vessel on his screen. It was tiny compared to his remaining warships, but it had fought with a skill and determination that terrified him. These weren't the weak, soft-flesh creatures he had been told about. These were warriors as dangerous as any he had ever faced. All ships, he said quietly into his communicator. Prepare to retreat. Sir? His weapons officer asked in confusion. We still outnumber them 6-1. Vrexik looked at the debris field that had once been 6 of his mighty dreadnoughts. Look around, you fool. Do you see victory? This one human ship has destroyed half our fleet and made us shoot our own allies. If we stay here, they will kill us all. On New Busan, the evacuation shelters erupted in cheers as people watched the alien fleet begin to pull back. Children, who had been hiding in fear, now pressed against the windows to see their protectors in space above. They're running away, a young boy shouted. The human ship scared them off. But Captain Dongsu wasn't finished yet. He had seen what these aliens did to human colonies. He had watched them burn cities full of innocent people, and he wasn't going to let them escape to do it again somewhere else. Boram, plot a pursuit course, he ordered. We're going after them. Captain, Boram said carefully, our weapons are empty, and our ghost drive is offline. We can't fight them anymore. Dongsu smiled coldly. We don't need to fight them, we just need to chase them. Show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens human families. The Inchen's fury began moving toward the retreating Vorthak ships, and the aliens fled even faster. News of the Battle of Kepler 442 spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, alien ambassadors watched the battle recordings with growing amazement and concern. The footage showed a single human warship destroying 6 Vorthak dreadnoughts and chasing away the survivors. Ambassador Su Jin of the Terran Federation stood before the Council's circular chamber, facing dozens of alien species who had barely noticed humanity before. The chamber was huge, with seats rising up like an amphitheater. Each race sat in their own section. The tall, gray-skinned Arcani with their large black eyes, the crystal beings called Nexari, who glowed with inner light, and the reptilian Saurians with their scaled armor and sharp teeth. Honored members of the Council, Sujin began, her voice echoing in the vast space. The human ship acted only in defense of our colony. We had no choice but to protect our people. High Counselor Zetheron of the Arcani leaned forward in his floating chair. His voice was cold and mechanical. Ambassador Su Jin, your species has possessed faster-than-light travel for less than 50 years. How did you develop technology that can defeat the Vorthak Empire so easily? Su Jin kept her face calm, but inside she felt nervous. The truth was that even Earth's government was surprised by what Captain Dongsu had accomplished. The Ghost Drive technology was still experimental, and no one expected it to work so well in real combat. Our scientists have been working on stealth and weapons technology for many years, she answered carefully. We believe in preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. The Saurian representative, General Krextor, slammed his clawed fist on his podium. Impossible, your species is barely out of its primitive stage. You should not possess such advanced capabilities. We demand to inspect your technology. Before Su Jin could answer, a new voice spoke from the chamber's communication system. The Galactic Council will inspect nothing. The image of Emperor Vorthak himself appeared on the main screen. The alien ruler was massive, even by Vorthak standards, with scales like black metal and eyes that burned with hatred. Your Imperial Majesty, High Counselor Zetheron said formally. We did not expect you to address the Council directly. Emperor Vorthak's voice was like thunder. The humans have made a grave mistake. They destroyed 6 of my warships and humiliated my commanders. For this insult, the entire human species will pay with their lives. Su Jin stepped forward. Your Majesty, we only defended our colony. Your forces attacked innocent civilians first. Silence, the Emperor roared. Humans are Nothing but soft flesh vermin. You exist only because we have not yet bothered to exterminate you completely. But that ends now. I am mobilizing the Grand Armada, 300 of our most powerful warships. In 1 month, they will reach your homeworld and turn it into ash. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in shocked silence. 300 Vorthak dreadnoughts was enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. No single species had ever faced such a massive fleet and survived. High Counselor Zethron spoke slowly. Ambassador Sujin, perhaps your people should consider evacuation. The Galactic Council could help relocate human populations to safe worlds. Sujin looked around the chamber at all the alien faces watching her. Some showed pity, others showed fear, and a few seemed curious to see what would happen. But none of them offered to help fight. Thank you for your concern, she said with dignity. But humans don't abandon their homes. We'll face whatever comes. 3 days later, Sujin returned to Earth aboard the fastest ship available. She found the planet buzzing with activity as military bases prepared for war. Ships were being built in orbital yards, soldiers were training in combat simulators, and scientists were working day and night to improve their weapons. At Terran Defense Command, she met with Admiral Kyung-ho, a stern man with gray hair who had spent his whole life preparing for this kind of threat. His office overlooked the construction yards where new warships were taking shape. How bad is it? He asked as Sujin sat down across from his desk. 300 ships, Admiral. The largest fleet the Vorthak have ever assembled. They're calling it the Grand Armada. Admiral Kyung-ho nodded grimly. We expected retaliation, but not on this scale. Still, Captain Dong-Su and his crew have given us something valuable. Proof that our technology works. The Ghost Drive and Plasma Lance systems are being installed on every ship we can build. How many ships will we have? Sujin asked. 50, maybe 60 if we work around the clock. Still outnumbered 5-1, but each of our ships will fight like the Inchen's Fury did. Later that day, Sujin met with Captain Dong-Su himself at the military hospital, where his crew was recovering from their battle. The captain was sitting, up in bed, reading reports on a data tablet. His crew members were in nearby beds, all of them treated as heroes by the medical staff. Captain, the whole galaxy is talking about what you did at Kepler 442, Sujin told him. But now we're facing the consequences. The Vorthak Emperor is sending his entire fleet to destroy Earth. Dong-Su set down his tablet and looked at her seriously. Ambassador, may I ask you something? When you were at the Galactic Council, did any of the other species offer to help us? Sujin shook her head. They were sympathetic, but no one wants to fight the Vorthak Empire. They're too powerful, and most species think we brought this on ourselves by fighting back. So we're alone, Dong-Su said quietly. Just like we were at New Busan. Commander Boram spoke up from the next bed. Captain, Admiral Kyung-ho has offered all of us promotions and new ships. He wants us to lead the fleet when the Vorthak arrive. Dong-Su looked around at his crew, Taeho, Miyang, Woojin, and Boram. They had all volunteered to serve together again, even knowing that the next battle would be much more dangerous than the last. What do you think? He asked them. Are you ready to face 300 enemy ships? Taeho grinned from his bed. Sir, we proved that humans can fight. Now we need to prove that we can win a war. Mi-young nodded seriously. I've been working with the engineers on improving the Ghost Drive system. We can make it better, more stable. And I have ideas for new weapons too. Wu Jin added, the electronic warfare viruses worked perfectly against the Vorthak. I can create better ones that will cause even more confusion. Boram sat up straighter. Captain, the people on New Busan sent us thousands of messages thanking us for saving them. Children drew pictures of our ship. Families named their babies after us. We gave them hope. Dong-Su smiled for the first time since the battle. Then we'll give the whole human species hope. Admiral Kyung-ho, we accept your offer. But I have some conditions. What conditions? Sujin asked. First, we don't just defend Earth. We take the fight to the Vorthak Empire. Show them that humans aren't victims. We're predators when we need to be. Sujin looked surprised. You Want to attack their territory? I want to make them afraid, Dongsu said firmly. Right now, they think they can bully us because we're young and small. But they need to learn that threatening human families comes with a price. A price so high that no other species will ever think about attacking us again. Admiral Kyung-ho, who had been listening from the doorway, stepped into the room. Captain Dongsu, I'm promoting you to Fleet Admiral. You'll command our entire battle fleet. And yes, we'll take the fight to them. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. Outside the hospital windows, construction lights illuminated the orbital shipyards where humanity's fleet was taking shape. In 1 month, those ships would face the greatest test in human history. But they would not face it as victims. They would face it as warriors ready to defend their species and their home. 1 month later, the largest alien fleet in galactic history arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. 300 Vorthak dreadnoughts moved in perfect formation, their dark hulls blotting out the stars. Each ship was massive enough to carry a small city armed with weapons that could crack planets in half. Emperor Vorthak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance, watching Earth grow larger on his viewing screen. The small blue planet looked peaceful and defenseless. He had expected to find human ships fleeing in panic, carrying refugees to other star systems. Instead, he found something that made his scaled hands grip his command throne in shock. 50 human warships waited in formation around Earth, their hulls gleaming with fresh armor and new weapon systems. They weren't running. They weren't hiding. They were ready to fight. Impossible, the Emperor growled. How did the soft flesh build so many warships so quickly? His intelligence officer, a thin Vorthak with nervous eyes, checked his instruments. My lord, our spies reported that humans could barely build 1 warship per year. These ships appear to be completely new designs. At the center of the human formation floated a ship larger and more advanced than the others. The Soul's Thunder was Fleet Admiral Dongsu's new flagship, equipped with the most powerful ghost drive ever built, and weapons that could punch through any known armor. On the bridge of the Soul's Thunder, Dongsu studied the massive alien fleet on his tactical display. The numbers were still terrifying. 6 Vorthak ships for every human vessel. But his fleet was ready. Captain Boram, now commanding her own ship called the Gangnam Strike, appeared on his communication screen. Admiral, all ships report ready for battle. Ghost drives are online and weapon systems are charged. Excellent, Dongsu replied. Remember the battle plan. We don't fight them ship to ship. We fight like a pack of wolves hunting a herd of cattle. Fast, coordinated, and unpredictable. Captain Taeho's voice came from another ship, the Plasma Fang. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy buildup from their flagship. They're preparing some kind of superweapon. On the Vorthak flagship, Emperor, Vorthak activated his personal communication system, sending his voice to every human ship in the system. His massive face appeared on their screen, scales gleaming and eyes burning with hatred. Humans. His voice boomed across space. I am Emperor Vorthak, ruler of 1,000 worlds and destroyer of 100 species. You killed my warriors at Kepler 442. For this crime, your entire race will be wiped from existence. Surrender now, and I will make your deaths quick. Fleet Admiral Dongsu activated his own communication system, sending his response not just to the alien fleet, but to every inhabited world in the galaxy. The Galactic Council, watching from their distant chambers, would see this moment. Every species would witness what humans were truly capable of. Emperor Vorthak, Dongsu said calmly, his voice carrying across the solar system. You came to our world expecting to find victims. Instead, you found warriors. You thought humans were weak because we value peace, but you forgot something important. The most dangerous predator is one that's protecting its family. The Emperor's face twisted with rage. Enough, all ships open fire, turn this pathetic planet into dust. The Vorthak Grand Armada launched, the largest coordinated attack in galactic history. Thousands of energy beams lit up space as 300 warships fired at once. The weapons had enough power to destroy entire moons, but the human ships were no longer where the aliens expected them to be. The improved ghost drive technology let the entire human fleet phase shift as one coordinated unit. They appeared behind the Vorthak formation above it and scattered throughout the alien ranks. To the aliens, it looked like the human ships had multiplied into hundreds of vessels attacking from every direction. "Impossible," Emperor Vorthak shouted. Where did they all come from? The human attack was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Each ship moved independently but worked as part of a larger plan. Captain Boram's Gangnam Strike appeared inside the Vorthak formation and fired plasma lances in all directions, hitting 3 enemy ships before disappearing again. Captain Taeho's Plasma Fang materialized directly above a Vorthak dreadnought and fired straight down through its top armor, destroying its command bridge instantly. Captain Mi Young, now commanding the Ghost Blade, used her engineering skills to overload enemy shield generators with precisely targeted energy bursts. Captain Wu Jin's ship, the Digital Storm, didn't fire weapons at all. Instead, it sent computer viruses into the alien communication networks, causing entire squadrons of Vorthak ships to receive false orders and attack each other. The Vorthak formation fell apart within minutes. Ships collided with each other as they tried to avoid attacks coming from seemingly everywhere at once. Commanders shouted contradictory orders. Some ships fired at empty space, thinking they saw human vessels that weren't really there. Emperor Vorthak watched his mighty armada dissolve into chaos. In the first 10 minutes of battle, he had lost 40 ships. The humans had lost none. How are they doing this? He demanded of his officers. It's still only 50 ships, we outnumber them 6-1. His tactical officer, studying the battle data, spoke with growing terror in his voice. My lord, they're not fighting like any species we've encountered before. They move as one mind controlling many bodies. When one human ship attacks, the others are already in position to support it. When we try to trap one vessel, 5 others appear to rescue it. On Earth's surface, billions of people watch the battle through every available screen and communication device. In New Busan, the people who had been saved by the Inchun's fury gathered in the streets to cheer as their protectors fought in the sky above their heads. Look at them go, shouted a young woman, holding her baby up to see the lights of battle among the stars. Our ships are everywhere at once. An old man who had survived the first attack wiped tears from his eyes. They came back for us before, and now they're fighting for all of humanity. We're not alone anymore. In space, the battle reached its climax as Fleet Admiral Dongsu led a direct assault on the Emperor's flagship. The Seoul's Thunder phase shifted through the defensive screen of Vorthak escorts and appeared directly in front of the Eternal Dominance. For a moment, the 2 flagships faced each other across the void, one massive and dark with ancient alien technology, the other smaller but gleaming with human innovation and determination. Emperor Vorthak, seeing the human ship so close, made a decision born of rage and desperation. Ram them, he ordered his helmsman. If we cannot defeat them with weapons, we will crush them with our mass. The massive Vorthak flagship began moving forward, trying to smash the human ship like a hammer striking an insect. But Fleet Admiral Dongsu had anticipated this move. Now, Mi Young, he said quietly into his communicator. Captain Mi Young, coordinating from her own ship, activated a special ghost drive effect she had been working on for weeks. The Seoul's Thunder began to phase shift just as the alien flagship reached it. To everyone watching, it looked like the Vorthak ship passed right through the human vessel like it was made of light. But as the alien flagship emerged on the other side, massive explosions began tearing it apart from within. During the phase shift, the human ship had left behind a series of plasma charges that materialized inside the alien hull, destroying the ship from the inside out. Emperor Vorthak's flagship, the mighty Eternal Dominance, broke in half and exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth's surface. The remaining Vorthak ships, seeing their emperor die and more than half their fleet destroyed, began to retreat. But they found human ships waiting for them at every escape route. The battle had become a rout. Within 2 hours, the Grand Armada was completely destroyed or scattered. The few surviving Vorthak ships limped away toward their home territory, carrying news that would shake their entire empire. On New Busan, in the same evacuation shelter where families had once huddled in fear, children now played with toy spaceships, reenacting the Great Battle. They no longer had nightmares about alien monsters coming to hurt them. Instead, they dreamed of growing up to serve on human warships that protected the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Dong Su stood on the Bridge of the Souls, Thunder, looking out at Earth as it continued to turn peacefully in space. His crew had saved not just their homeworld, but their entire species. More importantly, they had sent a message to every civilization in the galaxy. Captain Boram's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender. Messages from 3 different alien empires. They're all asking for peace treaties with humanity." Dongsu smiled. "Send this reply to all of them. Humans prefer peace, but we will always defend our families. Anyone who respects that will find us to be good friends. Anyone who doesn't..." He paused, looking at the debris field that had once been the Grandee Armada. Well, they can ask the Vorthak Empire about what happens then. As the human fleet began its journey home, sensors detected something that made everyone smile. Ships from New Busan were launching, not fleeing in fear, but carrying supplies and messages of thanks to their protectors. The colony was rebuilding, stronger than before. The galaxy had learned a new lesson that day. Humans might be young,